Welcome back to Razmafzar TV. Today I'm going to show you a diagonal strike from right to left, the downward diagonal strike. There are two versions, from left to right and from right to left, my right to left. So I'm going to show you today in this video, diagonal strike from right to left. So I bring up my sword and you see that how I strike. You can strike just the side of the neck, go down to the other side where it gets out of the pelvis or the hip. You need to strike close to the neck or the shoulder, and imagine you go and strike it. You can also step forward, as you can see it here. The first one was in static motion, and now you need to train both. This way you can put your weight completely behind it. This is one of the best strikes you can do in cutting test, because then it really works extremely well. You see that? You just turn it and make it into a cross guard under the armpit. Turning it like that's one version of it, as you can see it here. In cutting test, this is one of the preferred ones because this is one of the easiest way of cutting tatami omote can be done, right? So you bring it up, let the sword cut, Shamshir cut and go down. Do not fight against it, let Shamshir go and cut with its weight. That's why it's important to train with sharp swords, so you get the idea behind it, right? So you go and cut, you see it here. You go and cut. You see that you go up forward, go and cut. Now I'm on the other side and I'm in the go, and now you see that you do just without stepping forward, and you do this a strike, and now you step forward. To show you the same technique, but the recovery is different. You can do all the techniques I show it here from the different guards. I mean the same technique from different guards with two recovery. First the recovery which you turn. The second recovery, as you can see it here, I go and keep the tip facing the opponent. Then you can go to a thrust side where it's thrust, or you just go for another action. So you keep your opponent at bay. You don't need always to turn your Shamshir tip, so then this opponent feels safe. You keep doing it. Sometimes you just keep it there so you can immediately go to sideward thrust. So you see that I just step forward. You can do it in a static way as I have shown it before, or you can go forward and do it this way as I show it here to you. You see that here? So here I go and keep it there. You see, go and keep it there. I keep the tip of the sword there. You see that I cut diagonally, downward diagonally. The only thing is that the recovery on this technique is different. So I bring it up there and then cut. Bring it up there and then cut. Bring it up there and then cut. I'm going to do the same diagonal strike, but this time from high guard. From a high guard, I'm going to do this, and you will see it here. So I am in a high guard. Without stepping forward, I go and just go and turn it into a side cross guard under the armpit. Remember, even this one you can keep the tip up front. I'm not going to show it again because it takes so much time. So I just show it that this diagonal strike from different guards, the recovery of each one of them on this strike can be 2. So this is the first recovery, but you can do the second recovery as I have shown it before as well. So you see, bring it up from a high guard. Actually, this strike is the best you can do because it's very powerful, and I normally teach my students to do this when they want to do a very good cutting test. So you see, you bring it up in a high guard and then cut accordingly. So from a high guard, and then I come and cut. From a high guard, I come and cut and go into an armpit cross guard under the armpits. You see that? So when you step forward, it will be much more powerful. So I also show it from this side, you see? So you go down, bring it up, and you go down, and you see you can keep doing it, and this will make your Shamshir strike extremely effective and very efficient. It's going to get a bit more difficult because I'm going to use the same angle of a downward diagonal cut, but from cross guard under the armpit. So it requires some changing. You see that you go a bit to a high guard, not completely. It's like a transition. So you see that you can do and pull it out and then cut. You come out and pull it out and you cut. This is also very good one because no one expects you how you change the angle. You can also step forward and do it as you can see it here. Very can take him by surprise if you use this cut. Right? So you bring it up and cut. Bring it up and cut. Bring it up and cut. So you see. So you bring it up and cut. You bring it up and cut. You see? You bring it up and cut. You see how I stretch my separ, my shield? This is very good and a requirement in this technique, so you keep him at bay. When you do it, now you should stretch your separ, otherwise it becomes so dangerous. So there is something between you and your opponent. Right? So bring it up and cut without stepping forward, as you can see it here. Right? And I step forward, put my weight behind it, and it makes your strike much more powerful. Okay, we move to the next one and doing the same downward diagonal cuts from the right to the left from a cross guard over the neck. So I'm going to show it to you. So you see, you bring it up and do it, right? This is actually a very good and effective way. Basically, you don't need a lot of motion. You just can keep the motion of your hand, and then also when you move and you go back here, the very shape and the curved shape of your Shamshir allow you to do this very well. Just make sure that the angle of your cut is correct. If not, your sword is going to be stuck in the target. We need to especially cutting test, right? Remember the cutting test. That's the main purpose of a sword. So you can only nowadays, of course, we use it on tatami or mortar, hard grain to practice our cutting capability in martial arts. You see that? So I'm here. You can, again, in the static one, you don't step forward, you do this, right? You don't step forward, you do this, as you can see it here, but here I step forward and then cut. You see that? It's a very, very good and efficient way of cutting from this guard. Cross guard over the neck. You see that? This is the static one. And now I move and do the same cut. Now I move and do the same cut. I move to the lower guard and how you can do the downward diagonal strike from lower guard. So you will see it here. So basically, you bring it up and then cut. You bring it up and cut. From a lower guard, you bring your hand up over the shoulder a bit and then you cut. This is again easier when you step forward and you recover again to a cross guard under the armpit, but you don't need to. Remember in the beginning, the recovery could be also that you keep the tip of your Shamshir to the front so you can go for a thrust, sideward thrust. So you bring it up and then you cut. Bring it up and you cut, as you can see it here. So you bring it up and you cut. bring it up and cut. See, bring it up and cut. Bring it up and cut. Go forward, bring it up and cut. Go forward, bring it up and cut, as you can see it here. Bring it up and cut. See, bring it up and cut. And now you can go a step forward, put more power behind your strike. Go to horizontal guard, and horizontal guard do the same strike from the horizontal guard as you will see it here. So you see you are in horizontal guard, and then you cut with the diagonal guard, and then you go. It's important to understand the mechanics of a shamshir. Do not mix up different cuts. It's extremely important to understand cuts, and that's the problem when you do not fight. We should fight for safety reasons with blunt weapons, but if you do not practice cutting tests, they might destroy your techniques, right? And that's very important to keep these exercises, keep doing these exercises, so you have always the martial background in your mind and not only sportive aspect of it. So horizontal guard, and then you cut, go to the cross guard under the armpit, and if you put your weight behind it, it is going to be much more powerful, as you can see it here. Thank you for visiting my channel. Please subscribe to my channel and ask any questions you have. Thank you very much.